What is the secret ingredient that makes the Krabby Patty so addictive? It's Squidward's bodily fluids. Let me explain. In the episode As Seen on TV, Mr. Krabs arrives at the Krusty Krab where Squidward is playing director on the first ever Krusty Krab TV commercial. But Mr. Krabs isn't happy. Squidward is being too artsy and wasting all of Krabs' budget on a commercial that will air so late the only people to appreciate it are perverts and the unemployed. So Krabs fires everybody. Well, almost everybody. He keeps the clown. But everyone else is gone and he vows to handle it himself. That night the commercial airs and it sucks. I'm sure the perverts and the unemployed are disappointed, unless they're into clowns somehow. Anyway, there's this part where Krabs breaks down the burger's ingredients. A fresh, juicy grilled patty, crispy undersea veggies and cheese topped off with secret sauce and some buns. Hold up. Secret sauce. All this time, we've been obsessing over Mr. Krabs' meat, trying to figure out if he's actually been chopping up his own species and feeding them to the masses, but now you're telling me we should have been paying attention to the sauce? See, Squidward is an octopus, and if there's one thing that octopi and squids are known for, it's this black, milky substance that they shoot out when they feel threatened. Now, SpongeBob, the show, doesn't really mention it because it's a kid's show, and focusing on one of your characters shooting his bodily fluids uncontrollably is, people get arrested for that. But there is one episode that explored it, Ink Lemonade. The episode opens with Patrick trying to run a lemonade stand, but he has no customers and all he's doing is yelling lemonade. But then Squidward comes out to throw out his trash and he sees Patrick eating the glass pitcher. He gets closer and he realizes that Patrick isn't selling lemonade at all, he's selling water, which underwater is pointless. It's like selling bottles of air or pee. Everybody has it for free. You don't need a pee guy. So Squidward handles the situation in his typical charming way, calling Patrick a hideous freak and throwing a rotten lemon in his eye to quote-unquote help him make the business a success. Now Patrick can make actual lemonade. And the residents say, okay, we'll try this out, but the drink is full of bandages and stuff, which makes the customers run into Squidward's house and redecorate with their puke. So in a way, they get to taste it twice. Gross! Squidward storms out and he wants to know what the hell is going on, but Patrick ran out of lemons really fast, so he just starts pouring the contents of a toy fire truck into the lemonade. He's basically trying to speedrun a new pandemic. But then SpongeBob appears with a megaphone to promote the lemonade and scares Squidward so much that he just squirts this black ink right from his nose into the pitcher. And SpongeBob and Patrick, they drink it, no question, just right down the hatch. And they think he tastes delicious. They want more of his delicious manly juices. In fact, they like the taste of Squidward so much that they decide they're gonna start selling it. And you know what? The second the residents taste Squidward, they fall in love too. They call it a unique taste sensation. But now they need more ink to serve the people of Bikini Bottom, and Squidward is humiliated. He's just like, nah, not giving you more. So Patrick realizes he has to basically milk Squidward by force and scare him enough that he just sprays this stuff everywhere. He knocks on the door and he ripped his skin right off, exposing all of his inner organs as the door opens, and Squidward is so terrified by the sight that he just shoots his ink into the pitcher until it's full. Now Patrick needs more, so he gets creative. He releases a giant red sea spider into Squidward's house, knowing that Squidward is terrified of them, and sure enough, our man just pew 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 keeps spraying his ink, filling so many pitchers over and over. But now the line of customers is so long that they need a constant flow of ink. People can't get enough of it. But Squidward? Squidward is a nervous wreck. Everywhere he goes, he's expecting someone to jump out and get a face full of goo. He can't even tell what's real anymore. But Patrick has created this complex fake world in Squidward's house where he's a baby and there's a spooky Krusty Krab with a newspaper from the future. It's so messed up. Patrick even says, "Thank you, Daddy." I don't want to know who that line is for. Eventually, Squidward makes it out of the house, but he sees this line and realizes that they're selling his ejected ink as a refreshment, and he isn't even mad. See, he realizes that he can give them this stuff right from the source, undercutting SpongeBob and Patrick's business and making more money. The customers come to his stand, he takes their money, he tries to make the ink, But he can't make the ink himself. It's not a solo activity. He needs a second person to stimulate him. Through fear, not the other thing. So he asks the customer, "Can you please scare me?" Which just angers the customer enough to punch him. And that's enough to make Squidward shoot his juices over everyone in the line. But they're not happy about taking a face full of Squidward. They're disgusted by it. See, they never knew where any of this came from, and they're so angry that they just destroy his stand and run into his house to vomit it all back. SpongeBob and Patrick aren't that bothered. They got a new business. They're into cookies now. Squidward takes a bite and, these cookies are delicious. What's in them? Spider eggs. Remember that giant red sea spider? She's SpongeBob and Patrick's business partner, and she put her kids in the recipe. So Squidward sprays more ink as these spider babies crawl out of his mouth. And that's the end of the episode. The episode pretty clearly shows that Squidward is able to squirt this unique liquid when he's properly stimulated. I know how it sounds, but there really is no other way to explain it. But when SpongeBob and Patrick lick it up, when they consume the fluids, they discover that it's strangely addictive, and everyone else agrees. But in all of Bikini Bottom, there's only one other food item that creates that kind of craving: the Krabby Patty. The show has done a few episodes that highlight just how addictive the Krabby Patty is. The second someone consumes it, they start craving it. If they stop eating it, they develop serious withdrawal symptoms. A great example of this, the episode Just One Bite. The episode starts with Squidward handing a tray of Krabby Patties to a customer. He hates the Krabby Patty, thinks it's disgusting, but he's never actually had one. That news is horrifying to SpongeBob, who forces him to try just a little tiny bit, the tiniest little bit of mystery meat. But after it goes down the hatch, Squidward has no change. In fact, Squidward thinks it's the worst food I've ever eaten. So he goes outside and buries it in the sand just to prove his point about how horrible it is. SpongeBob is devastated. He goes home bummed out that one person hates his life's passion. But the second SpongeBob is gone, Squidward is digging that sucker right back up and shoving it down his throat as quickly as possible. See, Squidward is hooked on it now. But he can't tell SpongeBob that because he knows it will make him happy. So, Squidward gets sneaky. He gets to work, everything is normal, but then he makes up an order, calling it into SpongeBob, who cooks it. SpongeBob delivers the burger, he calls out for the customer, but the customer never existed. So, thinking that the customer left, SpongeBob just eats the Krabby Patty himself right in front of Squidward. Now, our guy is desperate. He starts diving into the trash, pulling burgers wherever he can find it, but SpongeBob refuses to let a Krabby Patty have its final moments in the trash, so he burns it instead. Squidward goes home, he sleeps, but now he's dreaming of the Krabby Patty. He dreams of marrying it, dreams of the juicy buns on that burger. He wakes up all hungry, craving his sweet, juicy burger wife. So he sneaks out, goes to the Krusty Krab, and he finds the Patty Vault, a huge room filled with pre-made Krabby Patties. But SpongeBob is right behind him. He comes to work every day at 3 a.m. just to count the sesame seeds. It takes seconds for SpongeBob to realize that Squidward is hooked on the Krabby Patties like everybody else, and even he can't deny it anymore. He loves them. He dives in and starts eating all the burgers in the vault, but SpongeBob is against it. He warns Squidward, "Don't do this." But Squidward's too far gone. He eats the entire vault, and once they're all done, it all just piles into his thighs. All 8 of them. By the time he realizes what's going on, he just blows up. We cut to an ambulance, and Squidward is now just ahead. The paramedics hold his tentacles, and he already knows what happened. I remember my first Krabby Patty. The whole episode is about the addictiveness of Krabby Patties. It's something that affects everyone, from Squidward to SpongeBob, and even the paramedic who knows what happened without having to be told. The reaction was exactly the same as it was for the black lemonade. It tastes good, I need more. See, Squidward's role at the Krusty Krab has always felt off. He's got no people skills, he hates people. He hates SpongeBob, he hates himself. The guy hates everything except the taste of his own juices, but that's the point. There is no reason for Squidward to work at the Krusty Krab. He's terrible at the one part of the job that matters the most. Krabs is a businessman. He's fired SpongeBob before to save a nickel. There's no chance he would keep Squidward around unless there was a purpose. But if he was quietly sourcing Squidward's, and putting them into this sauce mix, well, that would make a little more sense. And it would explain how the Krusty Krab is the hottest place in town all the time. And as for why he dyes it, 2 reasons. First is to throw everyone off the scent, to make them think it's nothing more than a house ketchup mix and protect the company's secret. But the bigger reason is because it's gross. Look how people react when they found out Squidward was shooting his magic into their drinks. If that ever came out, the Krusty Krab would become the chum bucket, which is what I call the vomit hut. All this time, we've been wondering what the mystery meat is in a Krabby Patty when it turns out it doesn't matter. The real secret ingredient was Squidward and his magical bodily fluids all the time. I do wish I could forget the image of SpongeBob and Patrick slurping it up, though. That'll, take some therapy.